Okay, so today we are doing the quadratic formula, which involves a discriminant, which is what we did yesterday. So hopefully, just adding this little bit of it won't be too bad. Now, what I want for you to see is this entire formula here, which is the quadratic formula. And it's x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, which of course is a discriminant, which you learned yesterday, all over 2 times a. And again, same as always, we're getting our a, b, and c from here. ax squared plus bx plus c. So let's just do a couple of these. And there's actually an easy way to do them in your calculator, but we're going to do them the long way for right now. All right, so we have to find a, b, and c first. That's how we always start these. So we're looking at number 1 here. I have x squared plus 6x minus 2 equals 0. Since there's no number in front of my a, that's a 1. My b is 6, and my c is negative 2. So first I'm going to find the discriminant. So I have, remember that's b squared minus 4 times a times c. So my b is 6. So I have 6 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 2. So I'm going to have the square root of 36 plus 8, which means that I'm going to have the square root of 44. Now, all we really need from this is to know how many solutions that we have. So since this is the square root of a positive number, I'm going to have 2 solutions. So then I plug a, b, and c into the quadratic formula. The nice thing is, this whole thing was already found to be 44. So I can just plug that in right here. So I do the opposite of b, of course remember b being 6, and then plus or minus the square root of the discriminant, which we found to be 44, over 2 times a, which was 1. So now I just pull out my calculator, and I get 2 answers for this. Now my 2 answers come from, I have to do the opposite of 6 plus the square root of 44 all over 2, and the opposite of 6 minus the square root of 44 all over 2. I'll give you a second to get your calculator. Now make sure when you're doing this that you're putting these into your calculator, all of that in parentheses. If you don't do that, then your dividing will end up not being correct, because it'll take the square root of 44 and divide it by 2 instead of the entire thing. So if you put in your calculator, parentheses, negative 6 plus the square root of 44, close your parentheses. You might have to close your parentheses twice, because when you open up a square root, it opens up a set of parentheses. So close your parentheses, and then divided by 2, your first answer should be x equals 0.317, roughly, because it's 3.3166247,904. The next one you're going to do is this one. So you put in negative 6, or excuse me, I forgot my parentheses, sorry, parentheses, negative 6 minus the square root of 44, parenthesis, divided by 2. And you should get x equals negative 6.317. Oftentimes you'll find that there is a little bit of similarity in these. As you can see in this one, you have the 0.317. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So we're looking at 3x squared plus 10x minus 1 equals 0. My a, of course, is 3. My b is 10. My c is negative 1. So I have to find the discriminant. Again, I'm going to put x equals, or sorry, no, excuse me, the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c. So 10 squared minus 4 times 3 times negative 1. So I have the square root of 100 plus 12, which is the square root of 112. That means, since this is a positive number, remember that means I have two solutions. So I'm going to be looking for both. Now I have to plug into the formula. Remember again, that number just goes in there. So I have x equals the opposite of b. My b was 10. Plus or minus the square root of the discriminant, which was 112, divided by 2 times a, which was 3. So again, I can put this into my calculator. And I have to put parentheses, negative 10 plus the square root of 112, and then close your parentheses twice, divided by 2 times 3, of course, is 6. Please do that, this multiplication in your head first before you go through and try to divide it. And you should get x equals 0.097 for your first answer. Now, if you go in and you want to do negative 10 minus the square root of 112 divided by 6 for your second one. So parentheses, remember, parentheses negative 10 minus the square root of 112, parentheses, divided by 6. And you should get x equals negative 3.43. So that is how you do that. Now, I'm going to give you a few minutes, or actually you can just pause this recording, and why don't you try number 3. Okay, hopefully you have done number 3, and I would like for you to do these by yourself. Now, I'll walk through one of them with you because we don't have all of the steps to follow, like here's where you put A, B, and C, etc. So let's do this on our own. We have A, B, C. A, of course, equals 1, B is 10, C is negative 22. So first, you're going to find the discriminant, which is square root of b squared minus 4ac. So, square root of 10 squared minus 4 times 1 times negative 22. So, in your calculator, you can do 100 plus 4 times 22, which will give you 88. So, you'll end up with 188. And since it's positive, you know you're going to look for 2 solutions. So now we plug in. Might help if you write the quadratic formula down here. So you have the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I'm going to plug in. I have the opposite of b, so the opposite of 10. X equals on the outside, sorry, plus or minus the square root of our discriminant, which is 188, all over 2 times 1, which of course will be 2. So I have to do the plus version of this and the minus version of this, meaning plus, minus, like that. Don't forget to put it in parentheses. So parentheses negative 10 plus the square root of 188, parentheses, divided by 2. So your positive is 1.855. And what I mean by positive, I don't mean your answer is always going to be positive. I just mean that you're going to use the plus instead of the minus. So for our minus, open up parentheses, negative 10 minus the square root of 188, parentheses, divided by 2, is x equals negative 11.856. The last ones I want to show you, because I want you to do the 2 on your own, I just want to remind you that these have to be in standard form like always. So, of course, to be in standard form, this side has to be a 0. So that 6 has to move. So I'm going to subtract 6 from both sides. And I have x squared minus 4x minus 6 equals 0. And now I can go on and find my discriminant and then plug in. Same thing with these others. This negative 9x can go over, and this negative x squared can go over. All right, that is it for your notes. Here is what I need for you to do. First of all, I want you to finish the problems on the notes. I then want you to do the quadratic table. Now this is something that you might not get until you're in class tomorrow, so that's okay. So your only homework for tonight really is finish these notes. Now if you're one of those people who decided you didn't have to do that at night and you are sitting in class right now doing this, then of course you have to do all of what I'm going to list. And then the next thing is CUDA solving using quadratic formula. And I've written the formula on there for you. You cannot write the formula down enough. The only way to memorize it is to write it down. I will not be putting it on a test. I'll be putting it on a quiz, but not a test. So remember, x equals the opposite of b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Of course, you can sing it to the U of M fight song, but I will not be doing that because I don't like U of M. All right, so any questions that you have will be answered in class tomorrow, or you can ask a friend. Tomorrow's going to be a work day, but hopefully we are pretty good on the quadratic formula. All right, thank you.